return back to Maui. We're returning back to Maui, okay? And we have to really address the crisis there. Folks, Maui is something that we must never forget. The wildfires that took a hold of Maui and also displaced the people in Lahaina. And, we're witnessing it again in real time with the hurricane that recently hit the East Coast. So there's been a report coming out where the Maui wildfire disaster started from a single blaze caused by broken power lines, the investigation reveals. They're also doing investigation how people feel about the wildfire. You don't need to pay money for the investigation because you want to know what everyone's answer is going to be. It really sucked. There. Let's go ahead and pull this up here. This is from a local Hawaiian news source. So let's go ahead and play this video.
Deep regret after an investigation blamed HECO for starting last year's Lahaina wildfire.
The new report also says there was only one fire that day, not two as many believed. Our Ben Gutierrez is here with new reaction tonight. Ben.
The nearly 300-page report was compiled by the Maui Fire Department and the Federal Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives. It concluded that sparking electrical wires began the fire in the morning. That blaze became an inferno later that day.
Just went down.
The key moment came at 6:34 a.m.
Right there, that's the power line that started.
The report says a HECO worker who didn't see any downed transmission lines or equipment reopened a circuit breaker near Lahaina Intermediate School. But that caused lines to fall and sparks to fly, and they ignited some unmaintained brush. For that, HECO today expressed deep regret and said its employees were doing their best.
So what we're hearing here is that they knew something was wrong. We deeply regret that our operations contribute to the fire that ignited in the morning. So they knew that they had a shoddy system. They never invested in underground wires. They never invested into proper cleaning and maintenance. It was a corporation just trying to earn a quick buck. It's also really suspicious. A lot of poor people's homes caught on fire. You know who didn't? A lot of them rich folk. Oprah owns a lot of land in Hawaii. She's got this huge estate. So does the Zuckerberg. So does Dwayne The Rock. You got all these people of influence and of wealth. Somehow they're okay. Not saying it's suspicious, but it kind of is a little bit sort of suspicious. Wouldn't you agree?
The report also said firefighters who spent long hours in near hurricane-force winds were not at fault for the rekindling of the fire that eventually spread to the ocean.
I believe that Maui Fire Department did everything possible to extinguish the morning phase of that fire.
What we're confident in concluding is that some piece of material that was set afire during the morning phase found its way into that gully where the photographic video evidence and witness reports show that the rekindle occurred.
The report left some evacuees unsettled as they try to understand how a few sparks led to such a catastrophic fire.
For lack of a better word, it seems somewhat simple compared to what happened that day. The hundreds of people who died.
Don't forget the fact that they didn't blast out the early alarm system because the guy in charge of it at the time was saying, I didn't want people to run at the fire. Now, listen, I am no expert, but I think I could read people pretty well. And I'm going to speak on behalf of all of the audience, okay? But if you see a wall of fire, I will assume that a vast majority of you, 99.999 infinitum, are going to run away from that wall of fire. I mean, it seems reasonable. Fire hot, fire burn, it could hurt you. And yes, if you're caught on fire and you can't get put out, you could die or have some real severe permanent injuries, But somehow the big brain people in charge of the rescue and early alarm system was like saying, we don't need to raise the alarm. We don't need to do that. People run at the fire, not run away from it. We got some dumb people in charge, man. Dumb people.
Didn't have time to get out because the fire was so fast.
Hawaiian Electric has taken responsibility and already agreed to pay $2 billion, half of the $4 billion global settlement for victims. But everyone knows money isn't the cure-all.
You know, it wasn't intentional. It was, you know, they were making their judgments, but their judgments cost the lives of 7 of my friends and 95 other people. So, you know, at some point, there has to be some accountability and some justice and some real compensation for us to move on, you know, for us to deal with the PTSD that we're all suffering.
Nearly 14 months after the blaze, the region is still tense. Even as rebuilding ramps up, the dry landscape is a reminder of the risk and the high cost of simple mistakes.
Just looking up.
This isn't a simple mistake. That's not a simple mistake. This is an epic failure in which water is diverted away from other agricultural land areas and from forested areas to the rich homes. It wasn't a mistake. The fact that, again, the homeowners in Hawaii, some of which never got that $700, it's a mistake, a simple mistake that people died. Oh, it's just a simple mistake that we didn't raise the alarms. Oh, just a simple freaking mistake. It was just an oopsie. An spaghetti-o moment. Tell that to the families. Hey, does anybody remember when Joe Biden went to visit? Took him a couple of days to visit. Still didn't do nothing. And then when he did come and visit, you know what he told the people of Hawaii, especially in Maui? Yeah, I know how you feel, you know, when your house is caught on fire, you got nothing left. Even though his house didn't catch on fire, it was his kitchen. I'm trying not to rage out, but, you know, sometimes I go a little crazy. It was just a simple oopsie. Simple mistake.
And the high cost of simple mistakes.
Just looking up the south side of Lahaina Luna Road, it looks scary as you leave Lahaina through Laniapoko, Olowalu. All of it looks scary.
As for the $4 billion settlement, it's on hold while the state Supreme Court decides if insurance companies can pursue their own lawsuits against Hawaiian Electric.
Hey, listen, insurance companies, listen, shut up and just take care of the people. Then you can worry about doing some other kind of lawsuit, okay? Wouldn't that be a sight to see? Insurance companies actually doing the right thing. Yeah. So, first of all, I definitely want to give a huge shout out to my good friend, Craig Passadurdula. Now, look, he did a fantastic documentary on his channel, and he has done some great work on the ground here. But it is a work of art, and I do recommend for people to please support him, especially in regards to what he has done in regards to Lahaina, covering it, and so much more. He is one of the dauntless few to actually have some great work and really, really, really deliver. So, folks, and we talked about this. I had him on the show too, as well. But this is the series, so you guys know what I'm talking about. Let me go ahead and pull this up here. This is it. Lahaina on Fire, Aftermath Volume 1. It's got 51,000 views on it, but honestly, it needs to get like 1 million, okay? Because he did a great breakdown of it. It's 1 hour, 6 minutes, and 35 seconds. If you have 1 hour, 6 minutes, and 35 seconds, please check out Lahaina on Fire, all right? Pasa to go. Check out his channel. He's done some phenomenal work, and he's somebody I'm proud to call a friend. And the thing is, the crisis, the wounds from Lahaina still remain. The people are still suffering. They've lost loved ones. They lost their homes. And the thing is, and I said this on the show, we are all Lahaina. Look at the people of Georgia. Look at the people of Florida, North and South Carolina, Tennessee. The government abandoned the people of Lahaina, just like it's abandoning the people right now. A simple accident, though. What a sight it would be if we actually had politicians and leaders that actually invested into our infrastructure, maybe mitigate a crisis, okay? Because you can't stop the power of nature, all right? Mother Nature doesn't give a damn about you. But there are ways in which we could protect people, invest more, protect the people. But in order to do that, you have to have people who care. And no politician cares.
Idolatry that's just fake, and all that while west nor faith. The kings of colony, white starts honor me, make our graves. The kings of colony know no policy, only rape. Now once you fall asleep, it won't bother you what they say. But the kings of colony, while they slaughter, they still complain. We say, please color me, still too solemnly, still too plain. All hail economy, praise the pharmacy, seas in flames. They're buying up Hawaii, and the smoke's not even cleared. Those vultures smelled the fire and an enterprise appeared. Investment opportunities where melted down communities leave vacant space BlackRock has been lusting for years. The council meets in private and they don't discuss survivors. Concerns among construction groups are all Lahaina hears. They'll wander through your city with this mocking sword of pity next to Oprah and her camera crew who tore the Trail of Tears, where footage flows as freely as the stream of liquid steel and the pools of pure aluminum that trickle down your wheels. And Biden's here to say he knows exactly how it feels, cause he had a kitchen fire once and had to miss a meal. And people still believe that piece of shit deserves your vote, like he's not why supplies are being smuggled in by boat, like he's not why our citizens were forced to stay and roast, and he can't unfreeze your funding, folks, cause Azov needs it most. I'll bet my every dollar Biden watched it with a smile. I'll bet he knows the whereabouts of every missing child. He's just the kind of man who lives to trample something tribal, collecting culture's corpses just to throw them on the pile. Like he and all his buddies didn't dream about the day when those who dared defy the donor class were cleared away, when home insurance triples and you can't afford to stay, and your land falls to the hands of those whose windfall fan the flames. The state will take Lahaina and they'll bastardize its name, and tourism will swarm it all the same. You see, the state we left Lahaina shows the ground rules of the game, the planes that in the night ignite the planes. And if questions raised that reckon the potential use of lasers, I suggest you take a closer shave by way of Occam's razor. And if those civilians stood between this country and its gains, then there's really nothing further to explain. Because you may know this already, if you truly know our past, but it ain't the first occasion and it will not be the last where Americans are kettled in and made to bear the blast, are barricaded in and left for ash. How many in Lahaina now are lying there awake and still can hear the city we left leveled in our wake? They still hear all the people that we let the fire take, instructed from above to stay in place. So look to the horizon, cause a fire comes for you. Desire made incarnate of the power-hungry few who instructed the police to not let anybody through, to barricade them in, and so they do.